Hi, so this video is going to be about sexual abuse again, but it's going to be about what do you do if you suspect a child is being sexually abused. I have worked with children in the past in the social work field, so there is protocol on how to go about that. Even if you suspect something, but you don't have any concrete evidence, just you being able to feel or think, suspect something is adequate, but to be sure and to not just throw an investigation on a parent and just have that hostile relationship with a parent, especially if you are working in a social field. You don't want to bring up something that's false and then have that be your reputation or have the parent feel as if they're not safe or you're judging them. So this is how you go about it when you are working in the social field. So when that does happen, depending on your position, you would go to your manager or your supervisor and tell your supervisor what you suspect. Now, let's say a child comes in and the child is a little too rough, or the child is complaining about their private hurting. What you would do is ask the child questions, not invasive questions or questions that's too age appropriate. Like you would ask them, what happened? Did you fall? Try to engage them in conversation, but don't make it extra weird and don't ask too many questions that would just boggle the child's mind. It depends on the age group. Let's say a small child, the child may have fell and landed in an awkward position, or the child may have, some type of rash or something. So you don't want to automatically assume that's sexual abuse, but let's say it is. Say that child said something that was totally inappropriate where you know that it had to be sexual abuse. What you would do would go to your manager in, a private, secluded area. It's not out in the hallways or whatever. And then you would tell your supervisor, what do you think? Now, your supervisor would now file a 51A. And a 51A has its own process. You would have to basically connect with the authorities, give them what you have, and then the authorities will proceed from there. But like I said, you have to be extremely careful in how you proceed it, because you don't want to automatically assume something that's not it and then be in a situation where the parent doesn't feel safe or feel like you're automatically going to jump on their cases, because sometimes it's just something. It may just be the child fell or something, or they just hurt themselves, or they were just rubbing themselves, whatever it could be, and it possibly really may be that. So you don't want to jump into conclusions. Now, let's say the child is older. Let's say the child is like 12 or 13 and you feel like something is going on. If you're in the school system, if you're in social field, you would still have to proceed with the 51A. But let's say you're not a teacher, you don't work in the school system, but you're an older adult. I would say, for me, how I would go about it, I would take the child aside and ask the child, is anything going on? And around those ages, children are on some like, you don't know me, I'm too cool for you, like, who are you? Back up off me. So I would proceed it like, I'm just a friend. Whatever you have going on, you can come to me, you can trust me, because at that age, it's a lot of confusion. You're trying to get to know yourself as a child. So I would come about it like, I'm just here to help you. Whatever you have, whatever issues, is a judge-free zone, and you have to show that child on a consistent basis that you do respect them, that they can trust you, and you're just here to help them. Once you build the trust and the respect, and you say what you mean and you mean what you say, that child can be comfortable enough to tell you certain things. But right off the bat, it's not going to happen. And just like in any relationship, not off the bat the person's going to tell you everything about themselves. You're going to have to learn at their own pace. But with a child who you're comfortable enough to approach, but you don't know their background, you don't know their history like that, and you're not in the school, you're not working in the school department, what I would say is that go about it in a trustworthy manner where the child can feel safe with you. Once the child feels safe with you, there's enough trust, there's enough respect, the child can't open up to you, but it is going to take some time. So that is my opinion on how do you go about children who you suspect is being sexually abused. And like I said, because it's such a taboo topic, you don't want to jump into it like, I'm stopping crime and I'm saving you and I know it all, because you're going to have egg on your face. And even if you are right And even if your suspicions are right, you still have to go about it very sensitive, because it's a sensitive issue. The child who's the victim and whoever is the perpetrator, because it could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be a neighbor. You don't know all the details yet, so don't just jump into it, whether you're right or wrong. Be very delicate with the situation. So that is my advice on how to approach it with a young child and a child who's slightly older. But at the end of the day, you could be wrong and still contact the authorities and just wipe egg off your face. But you don't want to be right and not contact the authorities, because is that something you really can live with? Like, you could have done something, but you chose to brush it off because it's none of my business and it's not my child and I don't want to get involved. You should always get involved, because you don't know whose life you're saving. So that's the end of the video. Leave your comments below. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever worked in the social services field? Did you ever have to file a 51A or get into some type of situation, whether it was any type of abuse? It does not have to necessarily be sexual abuse. When you file a 51A, it's not necessarily sexual abuse. It's any type of misconduct towards a child, any type of abuse. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Be blessed, and I'm out.